Welcome to the Grow Along Autumn Jump Starter 2024, and today is a lovely day to get started, isn't it? It's been raining all morning, it's too wet to do anything outside, so it's the perfect time to start sowing our seeds. So we're kicking things off with the Sweet Rocket. Now, all the information is already written down in your handbook, so if you ordered your seeds with us, if you ordered more than £25 worth of seeds with us, then you've got the handbook with all the seed varieties in there. If you don't have the handbook, then all of the videos and all the information is actually already on the website. So you can just search in the bar at the top on my website, or just Google it. Just put Zoe Woodward Gardening, and then whatever you want to know. So Sweet Rocket, for example, and Google will helpfully bring you up the correct page and take you straight through to all the information. Now, in addition to the handbook and the videos, we also have the Grow Along Live. So if you like my garden and you like the way that I grow, nice and relaxed, getting the plants to be started at the optimum time, if you want to follow along with me, then if you turn your seed packet around, you'll see there's a little scan. If you scan that, that will take you straight to the opening page on my website, and right at the very top, first post is the Grow Along Diary. So there I have just listed everything that we have done so far. So if you go and visit it now, you'll see that the Sweet Rocket is already up there. If the seeds are not on that list, that means I haven't started them yet and you haven't missed out. So if you get busy and you can't check in with your Instagram every day and you're worried that you're going to miss what you're sowing and you'll fall behind, don't worry. Just go to the website, scan your code, go to the website, have a look at the diary, and then you can catch up when you're ready. Now, every year is different, so we will always be doing adjustments to our sowing times on when we put things on, just depending on the weather. And that's the reason why we don't have the information on the back of the seed packet. For two reasons, really. Frankly, I would never get it all on there, everything I've got to say. And number two, I don't like those bar charts because they're usually wrong. And they just say, basically, you can say whenever you like. And at the beginning of the bar chart and the end of the bar chart are usually when you absolutely should not be sowing. So no bar charts on the back of the seed packet. Scan the scan and then just go to the website. And if you're looking at Sweet Rocket, for example, it's going to be smack bang at the top. If it's all the way down from 4 months ago, that means it's absolutely not the right time to sow it. So it's going to be so easy for you. You just look at what has just been posted, and I will keep that up to date, and I will also do lists and greenhouse updates. It's going to be so much fun. Now, being so poorly this year really reminded me and reinforced how important it is to really sow your seeds, plant them out, pop them on all at the right time, because it really makes a massive difference. I wasn't able in some instances to sow or to plant when I wanted to because I was too unwell. And the difference that it made is staggering, just those couple of weeks. So really reinforced to me how much this does make a difference. And also by joining in with the Grow Along Live, it means that if we have any weird weather, then you don't have to worry because I'm in the same boat. I've got exactly the same seeds. We can compare seeds. I can show you mine so you can check to make sure that yours are on track. You can get early signs about whether or not you've got enough light. If they look a bit different, don't look as big, then you know there's something wrong with the light, so you can fix that. And then I can let you know if we have really cold spell, which plants you need to protect and which plants are frankly perfectly fine on their own. Thanks very much. You can see behind me that Neil has started to take over. He's paper cutting, ready for the ranunculus sow. It takes a lot of organisation. Anyway, it's too wet for him to do anything outside, so he's going to cut all the paper. So I'm going to put my scruffs on and scarper down to the greenhouse and sow my Sweet Rocket. So the reason we're doing this one first is because technically it's a biennial. So it needs time, it needs a nice bit of warmth, which we've got. It needs time to grow into a nice strong plant, and then it needs the winter cold temperatures to make sure it flowers for you next year. Otherwise, it won't flower if it doesn't get enough cold. So these can be started back in the summer if you wanted to. However, they would then need planting out now. And my garden's full. I don't know about you, but my garden is full. The China asters are currently residing where I want these to go. So I'm going to sow mine now, and then I'll have plenty of time to turn into good strong plants for planting out in late winter or really early spring. Now, in case you're wondering why I'm not just going bananas and saying just sow everything now. It's all autumn, it's autumn jump starter, just sow the whole lot now. The reason is that some plants will grow quicker than others, and some are so incredibly fast that there runs a risk that if you sow them too early, they'll actually start flowering. They will panic and they will get triggered into flowering by the light levels because they're going to start to drop, and then you're going to have to start all over again, and you would have missed your sowing window. So cornflowers, for example, grow really fast, but if you sow them too late, they don't get big enough and have a strong enough root structure to survive the cold winter wet. So it's a balancing act. Too early, they'll flower, or they'll get so enormous that they'll need planting way before we have a chance to. In midwinter, when the ground is like iron, they'll need planting then, and they won't fit in your greenhouse. So we will save sowing those until a little bit later on. Now, other plants, they can be much slower. So I'm going to pace you so that you don't end up with 30-foot long sweet peas and nowhere to put them. Because if you plant them out and it's cold, they will get cold shock and you could kill them. And if they are root bound, then the performance will really drop off. So you've got ahead, fantastic. You've got the most enormous sweet peas, but then they won't stop growing, and you can't put them outside because they'll go yellow. They get cold shock, they'll go yellow, they won't flower properly, they'll look awful, and they might even die. So that's the reason why we don't sow everything all at once. We choose each individual seed variety, and then you don't have to worry about potting everything on. It's not all going to be ready for potting on at once. So you're not going to have to get bigger and bigger and bigger pots because the plants have got too big on you. And you're not going to need to plant everything out at the same time, because they're going to flower when the light and the temperature triggers them anyway. And that's how we get succession of flowers. It's variety. Well, that's probably enough for you to get started. If you need any more help at all, for example, if you've never filled a seed tray or sown a seed before, there are comprehensive videos on my website. So for example, when you're filling your seed tray, don't compact the compost too much because you'll knock all the air out, and then your seedling will germinate, pull its roots down, and then there's no oxygen, so the seedling will very quickly die if you've compacted it too much. So be gentle with your compost. Watch the video if you need to. No propagator lids at this time of the year. We use propagator lids late winter and very early spring to fake the conditions that we have naturally now. So don't put the propagator lids on because you will forget, and then you will end up cooking your seedlings, which is so annoying. So don't do that. All the videos are on the Grow Along page. So if you scroll past the Sweet Rocket and scroll down, you'll find which seeds need chilling. Just scroll down. All the helpful videos are there for you as well. So here is the page, and then this is the video. And look, if you look at the bottom, you can scroll along, and it very helpfully tells you what I'm doing. Look at that. That's really good, isn't it? First time I've noticed that. Anyway, so you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to. You can just scroll along until you get to the bit that you're interested in. I'm so excited. It is time for the first sowing from the Autumn Jump Starter, and we're going to start with the Sweet Rocket. Sweet Rocket, or Hesperis, is actually a biennial. It is not an annual. Now, biennials need to go through a winter as a plant so that they will flower the following year. So you need to sow it in September. The earlier in September you grow it, the better, because that gives the seeds longer to germinate and longer while the light levels are still quite high to turn into nice, good seedlings. They will then kind of almost stop growing throughout the winter. And that cold vernalization will then initiate flower formation in the plant. It is such a beautiful day now. I can't believe it after this morning that I'm going to sow my seeds al fresco. So I've got my potting bench out. Here's my 40 cell tray, and you can see that I have watered it ahead of sowing. So it's nice and heavy. So I can put my seeds straight into damp compost. That will help them germinate. And then hopefully I won't need to water the tray again until after they're already up. But I will put this tray out of direct sunlight, so they're not in direct baking sun in the greenhouse, because that can make the seeds dry out, and if they dry out then they won't germinate. Couldn't find my scissors, so I had to borrow Neil's. giant scissors from his shed. I better put them back, otherwise I'll be dead meat. I've cut the packets carefully so I can roll them back down and keep the seeds safe that are left in the packet. You've got plenty of seeds in your packet, so if you want to, you can do what I've done, and I've sown 2 seeds per cell, so 1 in each corner. And then what you can do later is, if they both germinate, you can remove one and let the other one just grow on. Or when we come to potting on time, you can leave them to grow on and then separate them into their own space then. There we go. Now just pop them on the shelf, no lids, no compost, no nothing, on the shelf, out of direct sunlight. If it's too baking hot in your zippy greenhouse, then you can just germinate them indoors for a few days until the weather cools down a bit. But otherwise, here will be absolutely fine. They should be very happy indeed. I've got my glasses on so I can see the seeds. See, this is the benefit of having the live grow along. When I recorded that video a couple of years ago, I had a jumper on. So we're already adapting ourselves to the weather. So start them in the house if your zippy greenhouse is baking hot, because they will not germinate if they are fried to within an inch of their lives and they dry out. I almost forgot to do my label. Mind you, it doesn't really matter. I'm only doing white Sweet Rocket, so it's when it's colours, that's when I have trouble, but varieties I can tell on site. And you can see, if you want to, you can pop the date. That's just enough information, 8th to the 9th on the top. And as always, I've used my UV Safe Artline Garden Marker. We have been using this for, God, years and years and years now, haven't I? I've told you about this, 7 or 8 years ago. So the difference is this one doesn't fade in the sunlight. A Sharpie, you'll come back and the UV will wipe all the ink. It'll all fade so much in the sunlight that the labels will be clean. But this one stays put.